In today's video, we're going to take a look at Grant Cardone. Who is he? What is his net worth? And is his rich real or is it just fake money? Let's jump straight in. Hi everybody, welcome to the channel. I'm Adam Arif, here to help you with your health, wealth and finance. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone, unless you've been living under a rock, is a famous influencer, businessman, tycoon, entrepreneur, and has a significant social media following. He has over 6 million followers on Facebook. He has 3.5 million on Instagram. He has 1.5 on YouTube, 500,000 on Twitter, and that's just getting started. So who is Grant Cardone? Well, he's an American-born businessman. He's 63 years of age. And in this video, there's two versions of Grant Cardone. There's the PR version he wants you to see, and there's the real Grant Cardone. Who is he and what is under the skin of the man himself? We've taken a look into what he claims are the real facts and figures. So when you look at his LinkedIn, his enterprises, and when you look at some of his accounts from Florida's corporation and company directory, you can see that he's got multiple ventures, but what we'll caveat this with is the fact that unlike in the UK, where you have Companies House, a single place or directory where you can have full access and disclosure to companies' information, in America it's a little bit more difficult. So it's very difficult to go and find examples of accounts, find balance statements, find statements of financial position, and actually determine how much money is within that company. So we have to, on some occasions, use different methods depending on which state the company is based in. Taking a look at his LinkedIn and his websites, Grant Cardone is the CEO of Cardone Capital, which claims anywhere between 1.8 billion to 2.3 billion under asset management through Cardone Capital. And this is largely built up through real estate portfolio management. He has rightly so been the author of numerous books, probably his most popular one, 10X, and is the creator of the 10X movement, which is all about 10Xing or 10 times multiplying everything you do to accelerate your growth in business, in wealth, in everything financially related, and also your own personal goals. Forbes has listed him as one of the top social media business influencers in the world, and Grant Cardone travels the world on his private jet, consulting, advising and providing sales training on some of the biggest Fortune 500 companies around. One of his enterprises hosted one of the largest entrepreneur conferences ever held with 34,000 people in attendance. But who is Grant Cardone at his heart? Where did he start and where did he come from? He talks very openly about this in his videos, in his posts, and he makes no apologies for being who he is. He is the real life American dream if you're to believe everything that you see, and he lost his dad at 10 years old. His mother supported him by working really hard. He became dependent on drugs, had nothing at the age of 25, clearly had a gift and ability and drive and determination to work hard, and after overcoming drug dependency, became a teetotal, and at the age of 29 years old, started his first business and didn't actually get going in his business until his 30s. So taking a look at his businesses, some of his businesses are about making money from training people how to make money. Now, the only real way that you can do that is if you have made money yourself, which on the surface of it, Grant Cardone appears to have done. He has Grant Cardone sales training, Cardone Capital, which is about raising funds for accredited investors. Accredited investors are a certain type of investor in the United States that are allowed to invest in certain products. He has Cardone University, which he has his own MBA, his own master's accredited in sales training. And more recently, you may have seen him hosting the 10X growth conferences and his program on Discovery, Undercover Billionaire, where he went from £0 all the way through to building up a large sum of money. If you've not seen that, go check it out. It's a good watch, whether you like the guy or not. So here's the thing that we want to know. Two things. Number one, does he give good advice? And number two, is there substance behind what he talks about? Now, it doesn't take very long jumping into some of Grant Cardone's content to see that the guy gives actually really solid advice. When he started off in his mid to early 20s, he went to college and he studied accountancy, actually, not about business. He learned about balance sheets and he learned about accounting as a practice. So here he talks about something that's really interesting that people are always intrigued by, and that is net worth.
What do you want it to look like? Okay, because I didn't know. Now, when I was 25 years old, my net worth looked like this. Basically, it was cash. Your net worth is defined by assets less liabilities. It's because I'm pressing too hard. Equals net worth.
And it's interesting that he talks about this because further in the video it expands on net worth doesn't really mean much, and to a large extent he's right. Your net worth doesn't necessarily mean you're rich, even if you have high net worth, because it doesn't necessarily relate to your ability to draw money or have cash flows into your business to buy things. Although there is a degree of correlation, but ultimately it's your assets less your liabilities. So what do you own that is of value? What do you own that is of debt? You take your debts from what you owed, and the value is your net worth.
Didn't pay me. The cash didn't pay me, and the 401k, that was just dumb, stupid, and ridiculous. When you're 28 years old, you have no business having a 401k. My debt was $150. That left me with $190,000.
So here's really interesting. He's sharing with us the assets that he owned in the first stage of his life. So when he went through the first 5 years of basically owning money, learning how to work and operate in business, and he had assets worth around $340,000, which by most standards isn't unattainable. Here he deducts his debts at the age of 30 years old, and he says he's got $340,000 worth of assets, $150,000 worth of debt, leaving him a net worth of $190,000, which is great for him at 30 years old. He hadn't consciously made the decision to increase his net worth, increase his wealth, and so he was proud of it. He was happy, but he still needed to know that he had to step up his game. And the next stage, he talks around some real solid advice about how to build a portfolio, how to invest in assets, and how to change your thinking around debt in order to actually increase your net worth and make yourself wealthier.
Just keep putting it off. Now, I'm not suggesting that to everybody. I had some credit card debt of $5,000. Learned how not to have that again. Had personal loans of about $5,000. My total debt was $1,650,000. My gross assets was $2.6 million. And Grant Cardone, for the first time at 30 years of age, was a $1 millionaire.
So here's really interesting. Just after the age of 30, he talks about his first property deal. And actually, often you find with these things that people make a lot of money when they land a property at the right time that goes up in significant value. Because where else can you buy an asset that actually you could buy and leverage at 80% of the value, put 20% down, for example, and you could have an asset that's worth hundreds of thousands in the matter of a few years? You can't get that. So he gives really, really sound advice and talks around the fact that he was 30 years old, his net worth was $1 million, but he didn't have access to large reams of cash because everything that he had he was putting back into investing and growing and nurturing. And this is really, really solid advice. This is something that a lot of people don't do. And when he talks in the beginning about people falling into a trap and false sense of security, it's because they don't reinvest back into assets that can grow.
My business, I got a business called Cardone Enterprises. That business will probably do $100 million this year. I got another business called Cardone Ventures. The business is probably $50 million business today. I got the real estate. The real estate's worth $2.2 billion. I got to show you debt for my businesses. Cardone Venture business, Cardone'S business. Did I say that bad boy might be worth? 150? Yeah, 75. That's 75 million. 75, right? Yeah, 75 million. I got some partners in the real estate. Worth of what? 2.6 billion. Oh, I forgot about my Twitter. Shit, my Twitter's worth a couple $1 million today. Look, all this makes a lot of assumptions, none of which may even be true.
So bearing in mind that all these figures are figures that he's giving you, but you've got to look at this and think, you know, the guy's got a private jet, the guy's got people like John Travolta speaking at his conferences. He's got watches on that are £500,000. You can fake a certain level of finance. You can go and rent a Lamborghini. You can go and buy these nice cars. You can't fake and sustain that for a long period of time. So his net worth now, he says currently at the age of 63, is 2.6 billion. And his debt is around 1.3 billion. So he claims, based on what he talks around, that his net worth is over $8 billion. But he also talks really interesting here around who cares about your net worth. He wants to be rich. He wants to have assets that can produce things for him. That means he can buy stuff, go on nice things, be in the top 1% of the people in the world. And that's what you've got to decide whether you want. Do you want to be rich on paper, or do you want to be able to afford things, buy things, grow and nature? He's not stopping. You can see his determination. He wants to go more. If you go back to the previous minute, he talks around the fact that a lot of these are in partnerships with people. He draws on his network, his ability to leverage finance with other institutions, whether institutional investors, corporate investors, or private wealthy net worth individuals. And you can often see him talking and giving advice around sales training on how to convert people, good advice for cold calling, warm leads, and you can go and look at any of his videos there. You know, this guy knows what he's talking about. And I think the more and more that you watch his stuff, the more that you see he's transitioned over a period of time and is more humbled. Actually, I think genuinely comes across like he wants to help. Now, do you agree? If you do, leave a comment below, let me know. Do you like Grant Cardone? Do you think he's scammy? You know, there's no doubt about it. The guy gets a lot of hate and has been involved in a number of controversial issues, one of which I think is pretty genuine, with Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street. Now, if you've not seen that, go check that video out. There's a really, really unusual podcast between two very, very strong salespeople where Grant Cardone seemed to appear on the back foot from the beginning of the actual podcast. And whilst the environment was really just created for a topical discussion to give advice to, I think, Jordan Belfort's viewers, it actually turned into a really awkward standoff and confrontation where Grant Cardone, for some reason unbeknown, didn't seem to gel with Jordan Belfort. And you can just go look that up, have a look at it, watch the podcast and let me know your thoughts. Very, very unusual. But this is either a masterpiece of marketing from Grant Cardone, or perhaps he felt threatened by Jordan Belfort and didn't want to let his guard down. If you stayed around to the end of the video, don't forget to like, it helps with the algorithm. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if there's any other people that you want me to cover, drop a comment below and I will try to get around to covering them next time. And next time I'm going to cover someone in the UK, so we can actually take a deeper look into their company accounts, dive under the bonnet of the car and determine whether they are the person they say they are and whether the company is earning as much as they say it is.